some people almost set themselves up for failure because they don't understand the basics of marketing and sales. And like, this is where sometimes like small tweaks can make huge differences, even in terms of like content, copy, headlines, ads, like, and then you look at like pricing, offer, like, well, this is the thing, I've spent over $1 million on fitness.
Yeah.
So it's like, I have a really good understanding of like, I can look at something, even like the initial data on an ad or like our team, that like there's no way it doesn't make money. Because at a certain point, it's like law of volume of like, the beauty of paid ads that most people don't understand is essentially a cash machine. If like, you put £1 in, you get £2 back. It's like, let's just put more in the front end, and it's like a conveyor belt.
Do you get that ROI?
The biggest thing I took out of that is who I'm becoming.
Yeah.
Because too many people think about the how, not the who.
Yeah.
And it's all about who.
100%.
Who are you going to become to create a business that makes 20k a month, 30k a month, 40k a month, 100k a month, whatever.
Yeah.
Like, people are too worried about the how, whereas actually anyone listening to this, you need to take a hard look in the mirror. Like, the person holding you back is the person looking back at you.
Yeah.
Same for me. That
limiting beliefs. Like growing up in rural Ireland, people want you to conform to the norm. It's like you go to secondary school, you get your degree, you go to college, you work's a primary school teacher, and it's just like your full career, your full pathway. It's like it's really just designed there out for you. It's like,
welcome to another episode of the Physically Jacked Financially Stacked podcast. Today we've got one of our superstar clients from Ireland who's now moved to Dubai, who's Adrian. Adrian's been working with us for maybe about 6 months now, roughly. And I would say one of the most inspiring stories for you is how you went from, I would say respectfully, being maybe slightly more introverted, shy in Ireland, and then you've now moved to Dubai and you've really come out of your shell. Business has doubled, and I think your perspective on the world is probably very different now in terms of just having more of an abundance mindset. Would you say that's fair?
100%, yeah, man. It's kind of like being a big fish in a small pond. But even just being over here, man, being around the likes of you, some of the bigger names, even in the bigger gyms, man, it just it really opens up your perspective. And obviously, like, just joining the mastermind, and when you hear that you've done it, it's one thing. But then when all of your members are, you know, having these huge, insane months, instead of saying like, oh God, I can't do it, I'm like, how can I do this? Or like, what are they doing differently that I'm not currently doing? And just like, you learn from others, you model what's working, and you try implement that in your own business. So look, it does take time, man, but like, it's all worth it in the end.
What would you say is the biggest challenge you had in terms of holding you back before?
I think limiting beliefs. Like growing up in rural Ireland, even just like, it's kind of like people want you to conform to the norm. It's like you go to secondary school, you get your degree, you go to college, you work's a primary school teacher, and it's just like your full career, your full pathway. It's like it's really just designed there out for you. It's like, it's nothing really based on like how hard you work. A lot of it in Ireland, it's just like, for as a teacher, for example, it's like you know your pay is going to be this after year one, this after year two. There's no real form of progression. So for me, I just didn't like that, because I am quite a hard worker, and I just quite self-motivated as well. And I think just, you know, investing in your mentorship and seeing what you're doing, seeing what other students are doing, it just helps really open and break some of my limiting beliefs that I had around myself. And it's just like, look, if they can do it again, why can't I? Why am I any different? And I just think, learning from you, man, it's really inspiring, and it's helped build my belief and build my self-confidence. And like, you were a big reason I even moved over here to Dubai. Because like, I saw you were doing the mastermind events, I saw you were hosting the live event, and I was like, God, I want to be around people like you. Like, man, being back in Dublin, a lot of it is like a lot of naysayers, people like begrudging you, looking down on you, anyone's doing well at all. It's almost like people want to see you do bad, where here it's like, it's an abundance mindset. It's like, yeah, he's doing good, and it's like, awesome, I'm delighted to hear that. You know, if he's doing good again, why can't I be the same? So I think environment, man, limiting beliefs, all of that self-confidence, but it's definitely helped investing in you and just being in Dubai in general.
Why do you think Ireland has that naysayer mindset and like small ones? And the second thing I'd also say, why is there so many online coaches in Ireland?
Yeah. I'd say you can thank a guy called Sean Casey for that. Okay. So he launched like some kind of a social media course maybe 2 odd years ago, and him obviously being from Ireland, he had quite a lot of Irish guys doing it, but you're seeing some of them blow up now at 500,000-600,000 followers. But to answer your first question, man, I don't know, I think it's just that like small rural country mindset, and like respectfully, I know a lot of people that I previously would have hung around with, like they're doing the exact same thing, man, today than they were 5 years ago, like going to the same pub, going to the same nightclubs, freaking wearing the same clothes, like doing everything, man. It's just like, whereas here it's just I feel we're a lot further down the line over in areas like Dubai, for example.
I think it's also why Dubai I think works so well for particular people in the fitness niche, or just anyone who's an entrepreneur, is that there's such an inflow of the best talent from all over the world, and also anyone in the world will come through Dubai at any point. So it's really easy to network with the best people in the world, or just meet them on an off chance.
100%.
And you never know who you're fucking walking past in the mall or sitting next to in a restaurant, which I think makes it a very interesting place to live, because you bump into some crazy and wild people.
Yeah, absolutely, man. No, fully with you on that.
In terms of you and the business, what do you think has been the biggest catalyst in terms of the growth you've had? Because you've also been signing clients up at like much higher price points than you were before, and had the confidence to like sell 12-month programs and things like that, which before was again probably another limiting belief that you struggled with. Yeah,
man. Even like, so you remember this? We had our first call, and I was going to IFS.
Yeah.
I was going to IFS James Smith's event, and I told you, I said, look, it's not the finances I need to think about. It's more so me, and just me fully investing in that. But you told me one little tip, even like just about, having like not putting your price in your contracts, and like, varying your pricing depending on the package and the service you're offering. I'd say I made my like first monthly investment back, man, before I even started working with you. So it's just small little things like that. Like you're really on the ball with everything. You're up to date and everything. And like the way I kind of look at it is like, I need X number of clients to make my ROI, and like, you've helped me build out LinkedIn now. Like that's something that I never even knew anything about beforehand, so we're actually getting more, clients from LinkedIn now, which is good. So we're not just reliant on Instagram or Facebook, and it's good to, like, as you were saying, not to be reliant on any one platform, because your social media accounts have been taken from you, yourself, man. So it's, I think there is a lot to be said for, diversifying and not just putting all your eggs in one basket.
I think what people often do is they're playing with fire, because they have their entire life in one app of Instagram.
Yeah.
And if that app goes, like my account got disabled last week, I now have it back. It's the second time it's now happened. But like if you know the right people and you have money, you can solve problems. Like you then have you're up shit's creek, right? Your business is gone in a click of the fingers. I think that's why you also obviously cleared a very intelligent guy, that you understood that when we said to you, like, this is a platform, LinkedIn, that has like people who have decent incomes, and you can charge more, and it's also going to spread the risk and lead 100%. Flow. That's going to give you stability long term, which is the most important thing as a business owner.
100%. And man, like even the clients we've signed up from LinkedIn, like I really enjoy coaching them. Like they're good guys, business owners, very coachable, good attitude. Like it's a different kind of client than a typical one you might get off Instagram.
What would be your biggest tip you think you've learned from working with us on the LinkedIn side of stuff?
It's a volume game. It takes time, but build up your profile and go through, like, you've such an in-depth course there, the LinkedIn module. Like, man, it's like, I don't know, there's like 20 modules there, but like information without information, you've all the information there, but then it's just implementing every little thing step by step. So like there's some stuff that, you would have coaches that I didn't even know about. But it's just really good to have that inside knowledge. And again, like the fact that if I ever need help, Charlie, with like what should my first message be or how should you respond, it's like it's the Slack channel, there's yourself, there's Sasha, whoever on the team, like you can always ask and just kind of make adjustments as you go.
I think as business owners in particular, like if you're a solopreneur and you're almost like the only person in the business at some point, is also a very lonely thing, and sometimes you just want a second opinion, right?
100%.
And I think that's also where everyone needs a bit of reassurance, in particular if you're having a bit of a rough week, a rough month, which everyone goes through that. And for anyone who's listening to that, who's in that position, that's normal. But that's also the point of having coaches is that you can then lean on them of like, this is happening, like, what do I do? Like, is this normal? Blah, 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 blah.
Yeah.
And like, I see so many patterns because obviously I see across hundreds of fitness trainers as businesses. I see in our own fitness business. I have historical data for the last 5-7 years of our own business. I know how market cycles work. I know how like, the seasons work. So it's quite easy for me to be like, okay, Adrian, it's been quiet. Okay, a good example. The middle week of every month is always quiet. And
yeah.
Like, slow for you?
The last 2 weeks,
Yeah. And it's like the same thing for everyone is that there's always going to be like ebbs and flows. And I think that's a lot of the time, anyone who's listening, one of the biggest things that I do with people is get you to like zoom out of like, look at the last quarter. Like, have you grown, yes or no? Look at the last 6 months, last year, like even year to date compared to last year. Because a lot of time people shit the bed because like, oh, I've made no money this week. It's like, okay, cool. But like you've made 4 times as much the last 3 months than the month before.
100%. Yeah, even man, that was something that yourself and Frank were saying, like something I never would have thought of. You would have worked in what you call it, in your past role.
Estate agent.
Estate agent. You're always saying people get paid the 25th of every month. Right. So if you're doing a launch, like do it like the last week of the month and leading into the first week of the following month. Small little things like that you know you don't know until you realize, but they can make all the difference.
Well, it's make and break with a promotion because if you're trying to sell people something when they've already spent all their money, you're goosed because they can't give you any money. So like the whole thing doesn't work. And this is where some people may set themselves up for failure because they don't understand the basics of marketing and sales. And like this is where sometimes like small tweaks can make huge differences, even in terms of like content, copy, headlines, ads, like. And then you look at like pricing, offer, like it's insane for a lot of people. I see people selling monthly coaching programs at like 200, 250 a month. And then they've got a decent amount of clients, but they're just really busy, but they're not actually making that much.
Yeah, 100%. There was something there as well that I wanted to touch on. Oh yeah, with even with the ads though, it's like, asking you, do you run it through Meta Business? Do you do a boost post? Is it for profile views? Is it for messages? Small little things like that. Like, man, we had a really successful boost post. I'd say, I don't even know the full ROI. I'd say it was probably 11 or 12 to 1 just by like going off some of your feedback, like what age range, what's the goal of the ad. So like small little things like that you can just bounce off you.
Well, this is the thing. I've spent over $1 million in fitness. Yeah. So it's like, I have a really good understanding of like, I can look at something, even like the initial data on an ad or like our team, that like, there's no way it doesn't make money. Because at a certain point, it's like law of volume of like, say for example, you were going to run messenger ads and let's say you were getting leads for say it was £3 a message, for example.
Yeah.
If you got 1,000 messages and you spent £3,000, that's right maths, it is then impossible that you're not going to be able to sell if you were selling
at least
like
2 people, yeah.
So you're going to double your money, right? So if you had 3,000 messages, if you got 1% of those to convert to calls, that's 30 sales calls.
Yeah.
If half of them showed up, that's 15. Can you close 2 out of 15 people?
100%.
Like, and that's where it's maths at a certain point of like, the numbers don't lie in business, in particular, the bigger they get. Is a data game. Like I know in our own business, our goal is to try and scale our, even say the mastermind ad spend to like 100K a month.
Wow.
But when we're spending very little at the moment, but the ads are very profitable and we have it systematized, but it's scaling that up without breaking the system. Yeah. But I now have historical data to know, okay, this is our LTV of a customer. This is how much we make.
Yeah.
I can now take that up with confidence because I know, okay, this is how we just need to add zeros, basically.
Yeah, 100%.
And that's where the beauty of paid ads that most people don't understand is essentially a cash machine. If like you put £1 in, you get £2 back. It's like, let's just put more in the front end, and it's like a conveyor belt.
Do you get that ROI?
Yeah, and that's when you understand basic human psychology and marketing, it's then quite easy. And then it just comes down to testing, being creative, and having probably your head in the right abundance frame set to understand that like most ads will lose money, but then you get 1 or 2 that does make money. Like it pays for all,
and
pays for 100
recoup all of the other ones.
Plus more.
Yeah.
What's been the biggest surprise you've found in yourself in the last 6 months in terms of how your business has grown?
Man, I don't know if it's a surprise, but it's just more so a better understanding. I've just realised, like, it's all about leverage. It really is all about leverage and identifying what are the highest income generating tasks that you can do, and then anything that is not in that bracket that you either try to delegate, eliminate or automate. So really what you've taught me is like just the value of hiring a team and getting other people to do some of the stuff that are, you know, time consuming but nonetheless important, so I can focus more on higher leverage tasks. So like, you know, building out someone to do the messaging, you know, hiring a coach, obviously just having someone like yourself then to bounce questions off. It's just more so the mindset and the understanding of what it takes, and again, like, just trying to model what you guys are doing and implement that into our own business.
And what I say is, like, we basically give you the system or the recipe and you put your own flavour on it,
yeah,
if that makes
exactly,
sense.
100%.
And it's like you want to add more fucking salt, you can. You want to add more sugar, whatever, like, do it. But this is the overall framework of how it should work. And
I think there's just like, there's so much value as well, man, to like meeting you in person, meeting Frank in person. It's like Frank says film a Loom video, or Aidan says film a Loom video, and send it to your VAs every single morning and ask them, like, what are conversations you're proud of, what are difficult conversations, what are like conversations to keep an eye on. It's like, it's something so small. So I used to do a daily call on my sales team, but now I do a daily Loom video. And I was looking at your calendar you were sharing with us, and it's like, you spend a lot of time in the morning doing deep work. And I'm like, okay, if Charlie does deep work in the morning and he's doing really well, I should probably do something similar. So I do something the same. Then you look at your metrics, you look at your sales team. I do the exact same. So they send me on a report. I look at the conversations, give them coaching on like what worked well, what they could improve on. But man, it's like, it's just having a good system. And then once the system is there, it's just making sure that, like, just as fitness coaches, you hold your clients accountable that they're following the plan. It's kind of like the same with your messaging team, but it saved me so much time, man. Like you said about your desire and drudgery zone, like, respectfully, I know it's so important in the job, but I freaking hate like DMs. I don't like doing outbound messaging. I know I still do a bit of it, but when you have someone there to nearly do it like quite effectively for you, like, it just, man, it saves me so much time and stress and gets me to focus on doing more of the stuff that I enjoy doing.
I think one of the things people have is a limiting belief of people can't do things as well as themselves.
Yeah.
And I think a framework I think about a lot is you can have control or you can have growth.
Yeah.
But you can't have both. And I'm going through a similar thing like that a little bit myself at the moment, where I'm trying to really delegate our teams to run everything, so then I can focus on doing stuff like I'm better than anyone else at, which is like lead gen and marketing. Yeah. And it's difficult. My natural tendency is I want to micromanage and I want to jump in and I want to fucking do everything.
Rule with the iron fist.
Yeah, but like you have to like let people rise to the challenge and do their thing. And I see the same thing in an extent for fitness coaches who like, they don't want to give the DMs to someone to help them with. They don't want someone to help with the coaching. They don't want someone to help edit their videos. I'm like, well, respectfully remain poor almost, because you can't multiply yourself, and you also will not have a life that you probably want, because you're going to spend your time going from making content to editing content to doing check-ins to doing sales calls to going to sleep and doing the same thing tomorrow.
It's too much task hopping. Yeah.
And it's not high value tasks.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah, that's probably one of the biggest things. Like just attending that, hearing it at the mastermind, yourself, Chris, Frank all speak about it. Again, it's like, if you're doing it, if you're talking about it, like, information is one thing, man, but like just implementation and actually taking action on it is step number 2.
And that's the biggest thing most people struggle with, is ability to actually do the thing and procrastinate. And I think that's often they have a limiting belief and almost a fear of being successful.
Yeah, yeah.
Is that something you've seen in Ireland, perhaps?
I've seen it myself. I'm not going to speak with anyone else. It's like, sometimes it's fear of failure, but other times it's like fear of success. It's like, God, what if this actually works? And I don't know, man. It's just like seeing guys like you being so successful. I just realized that, like, maybe my goals and the goals that I set for myself, it's like way too small. And you really realize that when you're in rooms with, like, you know, big people doing, you know, 3 figures a month, like not a year, 3 figures a month. You've got Eli, you've got Dave, you've got other people, and like, they're just regular people, no different to myself, but they're just taking your information on and they're 10xing it. So even with you, so I'm with you now for at least another year, thank God. And We were talking about gold, and you were like, no,
Yeah,
you go, don't 2x, you want a freaking 10x.
Yeah.
This time next year, this is where we want to be. So it's like, it's just reassuring and rewarding hearing it from you.
And that's where I'd say from experience, it's like, I would think differently than you do, and that realignment will add so much. That realignment will add so much value to you alone, because it changes your thought process. And one of my favorite books is 10x is easier than 2x, because what most coaches do is they try and like 2x their business by doing more content, more outbound messaging themselves, coach more clients themselves. Like they grind themselves into existence of a life they hate, and then they actually sabotage themselves because they don't want to grow anymore because their life is shit and they don't want more of the same thing. Whereas if you had the mentality where it's like, okay, instead of making 10K a month, I want to make 100K a month. How do I do that? How many clients do we need to sign up? What does the price need to look like? Okay, I can't take all these calls myself. I need someone to take the calls. I can't coach these clients. How many coaches do I need? Cool. So this is what this is going to look like.
100%.
Let's start building towards that, and let's build the business towards that.
Yeah.
And when you think like that, you have a vision and a roadmap of where you want to go.
100%. It's a volume game, man.
And with me, like I'm not going to say this in an arrogant way, but like I knew when I was an estate agent, I had the ability to do more, and I had the aspiration and drive to do it. I didn't know how or why or when, but like I just took the next step as the fucking stepping stone appeared in front of me, and figured it out as I went on. And then when it became clear of, okay, like fitness is the vehicle for me, I was like, this is where I want to go. I want to get to 100K a month. Cool. What does the business need to look like? I want to get to 200K a month. Like, what does the business need to look like? Now our goal is to get to like $1 million a month at some point this year. Like, how do I do this? Like, we want to get to 7-figure scaling systems to make $500,000 on its own. It's like, okay, how many clients do I need? How many people do I need to take sales calls? Like, how many coaches is that? Like, what does that look like? And not enough people actually think like that.
And that's a common theme with all the like yourself, JP, Chris, what's the first thing they always say? What's the vision? And at first I thought, man, it's like, it's woo-woo, but it really is everything. Like, what's the vision you have for the business? How do you want your life to look? And then just trying to build out a system that, you know, models what your dream day, what your dream business looks like.
And I'd even say for myself, transparently, I've had periods where I've been unhappy in my own business, maybe the last 6-12 months, where I've been doing a lot of stuff I don't really enjoy. So like, I'm
curious, what are some of those tasks for you?
I fucking hate Zoom calls.
So because it taxes your time.
But it's like I like talking in person. I like people's energy. So like,
same as that.
Like, you know, I said before, so one of the things we're going to do in the mastermind is monthly workshops. Because I like to be in person with people. I like to teach in person. I like people's energy. And I like having growth-minded people around me. But like, I would have days where I'd have 7 hours of Zoom calls back to back, and I'm like, this is way too much. And a lot of it was me unnecessarily micromanaging teams and stuff that I didn't need to do. But now I've taken myself out a lot of that. And then what I also do is I work out, okay, what's the things I actually really enjoy in life? One of the things is I'm very competitive and I like sports. So it's like, I haven't done the last few days because I've been away, but generally I'll try and do some type of sport outside of weight training every day. So whether it's like golf, paddle, boxing, like I've done yoga a couple of times recently, like do something to like physically
balance
move you. To like, because it's a physical activity where you get to 100%. Learn a skill, you meet new people, it makes you more of a well-rounded person. And I think that's where people need to understand that, yes, I want to be incredibly successful as an entrepreneur and achieve all this stuff and help loads of people. But I also, worst thing I think anyone wants to be in life is a one-trick pony. Like, you need to be like 3 to 4 dimensional, if that makes sense.
100%. And you get that perspective, man, from just, again, being around guys like you. I love it. And
that's even like, I'm learning, me llamo Charlie, I'm learning Spanish at the moment. So, not like, poco, like, slowly. I keep missing lessons because I'm traveling, but that for me is another skill in terms of like a challenge on my brain of trying to learn something that I've never fucking learned before. And that's where, if you actually test yourself, there's a lot of things that can be applied by learning different skills that you can then apply to your business.
100%. That's the next step, man. I've a call later on today with I want to hire a new coach, an assistant coach, and just start building out a real solid team now. You know, more coaches, more like assistants, sales setters, and just you know, as you're saying, it's just a volume game from there.
Yeah, it's a volume game, and it's also it gives you leverage, right? It's that saying from Archimedes, is if you give him a big enough lever, you can move the world. Which is like, my thing is how much leverage can I get with the things I do every day? Like this podcast we're doing right now is a form of leverage. There's people listening to this podcast right now whilst we're recording it, like listening to other episodes, that's a form of leverage. Like you're duplicating yourself out there.
Yeah.
You having a team is duplicating yourself out there.
100%.
Facebook ads is a form of leverage. And this is basically the game, is then that's how you can scale and grow a business, because it's not reliant on like one-to-one, like you doing everything. It's one-to-many because you've got all these other things providing
It's a compounding effect, 100%, yeah.
But there's also like the force multiplier effect of those things is massive. Because even if you think, I'll give an example. So say someone listens to this podcast, I would say probably a lot of people listening to this podcast have probably seen a Facebook ad from me at some point. You listen to this you listen to this podcast, watch this podcast, you find out more about us, you like us, you also get hammered with our Facebook ads all the time. But who are you going to go to if you look to build a fitness business? Probably the person you see all the time who like their content. And that's where things like multiply together. And that's also what I did in my fitness business to scale it to millions a year, was because I understood that if I had really good organic content that helped people, I had really good client results, and I'm also running loads of paid traffic as well. The people that pay traffic will see the organic stuff. They'll also see the client results. They all work synergistically.
100%.
And I think that's why a lot of people don't do as well as they should, because they don't understand that these things are a system, like work together.
Yeah.
In terms of you and your own development as an online coach, did you think you would be in the position you are now, like looking back from when you started?
When you say when I started, like, are we talking...
From day one.
From day one. Man,
what was the vision then?
I'll never forget. So I hit my first 10K month when I started working as a primary school teacher. And I was like, God, like if I can earn that amount while, still having a 9 to 3
How much were you earning as a teacher then? Like 2.5, 3K?
So my fortnightly salary was €1,200. So 2,400 a month. And like, that's where a lot of my time, energy and so on was being put in. So I was like, when your side hustle at the time was making more than your main, that's when I knew that I wanted to do it full time. So I'll never forget my final day teaching. I came home and my mum started crying because she basically supported me through college. But I just told her, "Ma'am, everything will be all right. It'll work out okay." And it's been there ever since. Like for me, man, I've a pretty basic life. It's like, what do I want to do? Get fulfillment from coaching. Where do I want to be? I like the sun. I like gyms. So like somewhere with good sunshine year round, in the gym, like Dubai. And who you're going to spend your time with. And like, once I'm doing deep fulfilling work, once I'm able to work out, once I'm able to train, get a bit of sunshine every day, man. And just like chat with like-minded people. Like for me, that's like, it's a pretty basic formula, man. But it's like, it's a pretty solid day. So that's kind of the vision, man. Like just win the day every day.
What does your mum think now?
Yeah, she's proud of me. She gets a bit emotional every time that I move when I come home and I go back over. But no, she's proud of me. She's happy out. She's kind of like she's always on the air in the side of caution. Like, oh, you can always go back to the teaching if you wanted, anyways, Adrian. Or like kind of like having the security. And I'm like, yeah, ma'am. I that could be an option, but for now, I want to park that and leave it off.
But I also think what you said there is interesting, because that's, people don't take the risk, but they don't also understand that you can always go back.
Yeah, 100%.
And that was the same for me as when I left my job as a estate agent. Is that if it didn't work out, I'd just go back. And I was making 3-4 times as much online as it was in my job. And I actually look back now and I'm like, it's actually retarded when I think about it, because I had not more money I knew what to do with, but I had all this disposable incomes coming through. Yeah. Like, do you know what I mean? It's insane at that point.
The real risk is not doing anything, man, and just staying where you're at.
And it's a procrastination. And transparently, I think about it, that I probably delayed it 6 to 8 months too long. Yeah. Because I thought about it for so long, because I had a very comfortable position. I was earning $100,000 a year. Company I worked for were fucking retarded, and I just didn't do any work and just swanned around, did what I wanted. And basically ran my fitness business from within the other business.
Yeah.
So I was like, well, I've got the best of both worlds. But then probably the thing that really pushed me was that I wanted complete time and location freedom.
Yeah.
I had the money,
100%.
but then I still had to fucking turn up at this office.
Yeah.
Like here and there.
Yeah.
And that for me was like, if you understand the values of who you are as a person, what's important to you.
Yeah.
For me, it's time freedom, location freedom, financial freedom. Then I was like, okay, cool. Then this is the only way I'm ever going to do that. Because if I work for someone else in a corporate company, no matter how great I am, like I make more than the managing director of that company in 2 months, probably in a year.
Yeah, man.
So it's like, it doesn't make, like if I stayed in that job, I was never going to become the fucking managing director anyway. And they're losing half the money in tax.
Yeah.
And they have no benefits of running the business. So it's like, you break it down and it's like, well, and I actually thought, I literally worked out the numbers. I was like, even if I became the head of this company that's worth hundreds of millions, I was like, I'm never going to get the life I actually want. So what am I doing?
Yeah. Yeah. 100%. Going back to that vision, right?
Yeah. And it wasn't a crystal clear vision. I just had an idea of who I wanted to be for myself, not from like outside status, but like who's the Charlie I want to be that's going to make me happy, fulfilled, and provide for the future family I want to have one day. And that was when I was like, fuck, you have no choice.
Yeah. Burn the boat.
Yeah. And it's, you can have regret of action of doing the thing or regret of inaction. I think you're better off trying and
at least knowing it's not for you, man.
Well, at least you went all in, you fucking did it. Whereas I think 95% of people, their dreams die with them on their deathbed because they will wonder, what if I did this? What if I did that? What if I moved to Dubai, took the risk? Like, what if I started an online coaching business and did the thing that everyone said I couldn't do, but you just did it anyway?
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, absolutely, man.
What would you say to people who are in that position now in terms of making decisions like that, whether it's to like join a mastermind, start an online business, like
it's like what's the upside, what's the downside? And for most people, like, look, I've said it before, you can pay in money or you can pay in time. You can always earn more money, Charlie. You can't get your time back. So it's like, for me, I'd rather like give someone my money, and I don't see it as a cost, I see it as an investment. That's what I always say. Any mentor that I work with, it's an investment because you've got the skills, you've got the knowledge, and that's something that nobody can take from you, man. So it's like, when you invest your money, you're getting an ROI back, you're getting a business back, you're getting more of a lifestyle back, and you still have problems, but you've better problems than I would have had as a primary school teacher. And like, that's, I think as guys, man, like, it's above all else, it's just like, we just want to see progression. And like, once I see progress in the business, in my fitness, in my physique, the person I'm becoming, man, like, I'm happy. And I've really like started to see that now the last while since taking on board your advice and just implementing on a daily basis.
The biggest thing I took out of that is who I'm becoming.
Yeah.
Because too many people think about the how, not the who.
Yeah.
And it's all about who.
100%.
Who are you going to become to create a business that makes 20k a month, 30k a month, 40k a month, 100k a month, whatever.
Yeah.
Like, people are too worried about the how, whereas actually anyone listening to this, you need to take a hard look in the mirror. Like, the person holding you back is the person looking back at you.
Yeah.
Same for me, that I'm not at the level I want to be at yet. And I say yet because I'm holding myself back with probably my own glass ceilings of limiting beliefs or not knowing what I don't know yet to get to the next level.
Yeah.
And I think that's where people need to understand that this is like an internal game, but the internal game gets fixed by people externally who can pull out of you, Adrian, this is who you are, this is what you can do. And then it's that success confidence loop of that, like, you get some success, you get confident, more confident you get, the more success you get. Yeah. And it's the fucking snowball momentum of the flywheel starts going.
100%.
And I can see the smile on your face because it resonates.
100%.
I think I remember the first time you sent me a message saying you sold your first paid in full.
Brother, it was a photo from the balcony looking down over your apartment. It was like...
And I think I probably said this to you on the call. I was like, what's more important for you when you first sell someone up front or for more money? isn't the money, it's the fucking click
Yeah.
that happens. You're like, holy fucking shit.
Yeah.
Like, this is actually possible, because the way I explain it is you're like then going from like Conference League football to Champions
100%.
League, because then your ability to scale a business is like 10x.
And again, man, it's going back to what we were saying with the LinkedIn clients. Like, he got really good results. He got great results. And it's like, those who pay, they pay attention. Like, same with myself, with yourself, you know, it's true.
Why do you think some people struggle in terms of applying themselves and getting results in life, whether it's in business or fitness?
Oh, it's a hard question. I think, Charlie, like, a lot of it is fear of failure or fear of success even. And I think your environment plays a huge, huge role in that. Like, I know, like, just, I love being home for like a period of a week or two, but like just after that, I'm like, okay, I've had enough. I need to get into like an environment which is more inspiring with more like-minded people. So I think one thing that holds so many people back, myself included, is just who you spend your time with, who you listen to. And it's not just your inner circle, Charlie. It's not just like who you hang around with, who you listen to as well. It's your audio circle. So like really screen that. And for me, like, sometimes I found being back in Ireland, it can get a bit lonely, man. But like, just listen to the likes of yourself, all the good podcasts, reading self-development books. It's like, God, I'm not the only one feeling this way. And even you in the call last week, you were saying, or even this week, you were saying you're in the Maldives. You had 1 or 2 challenges with, you know, the IG down. It's like, and just like your perspective on it, it's like, yes, another problem. Like, yeah, like that's a good mindset. That's a good attitude to have. And it's just like, it really taught me that, like, look, there's always going to be problems. And it's just like your perception on them and how you deal with them. But like every new problem that you deal with, it's just like going back to who you become. You just, it builds up an inner strength and inner seal that, like, if something else pops up, you're going to be able to deal with it.
And I think that also once you've slayed a few dragons or problems, you know you can slay the next one.
Yeah,
and
100%.
I think the most important thing for anyone to understand is that, like, I have problems, that you have problems. Like, everyone has the problems, but also, if anyone has a problem as an online fitness coach, without 1,000% doubt, I would have had whatever issue you've had probably multiple times. So then I know how to handle it, or like, this is what happened to me, this is what I did, this is how I worked around it, and I'm still here. I haven't had anything that's been cataclysmic and like ended my career. So that's an important point where you often get reassurance, because sometimes we just need someone to be like, okay, yeah, that's shit, Adrian, but like, I did this before, this happened to me.
Yeah.
You'll get through it. You just need to do X, Y, Z.
It opens up perspective, man.
And
100%.
Like I've talked before, I had like Stripe account shut down, lost £250,000 a year, like loads of stupid shit's happened to me. And I look back now in hindsight and laugh. I obviously wasn't laughing at the time, but it's just the reality of the nature of the beast, that if you live by the sword, die by the sword in entrepreneurship, and it's just your ability to stay resilient and keep going is the most important thing.
Resilience, 100%.
Is there anything you do for your own mindset right now that's improved in terms of you being in Dubai?
As in, what is...
Like, you've become a different person now. Is there anything else you do in your routine that anyone could take away from this?
I think, man, it's just like, it's looking back at, like, look, win the day. Just win the day. What does a win look like for me? It's like doing a bit of deep work. So working on the business, that I get to work out, spend a bit of time in the sunshine, and just like speak to like-minded people. And if you just do, like, if something makes you feel good, why would you not do it? So for me, I like to do some form of self-development, some form of reading, working on it, like fulfilling work, train then just to release all the demons and release all the stress, get your work block 2 done, and just like rinse and repeat that, really, man. It's like, I think it's just being in a good, consistent routine, being around good people, and doing deep, fulfilling work. Sounds basic, but like, just when you execute that in a daily, man, like, it's every day you're waking up and you're looking forward to something.
I would agree 100%. And one thing I'd give to everyone is that as an entrepreneur, we wear multiple hats. And one of the best ways I've found to get myself in the zone for certain tasks is to try to wear one hat on a certain day. So Mondays I have meetings, Tuesday I tend to do like fulfillment for the mastermind. like today I'm doing 4 podcasts, so like I'm in podcast hat mode.
Yeah.
Like have a certain person you're trying to focus on being that day. Whereas if you're bouncing from sales calls to podcasts to coaching your team to doing X, Y, Z, it becomes very difficult for you almost to know who you are, which is a huge thing that I've personally learned.
Yeah.
We'll wrap up there, Adrian. So to give up one last piece of advice, if you were an online coach who's looking to get to the next level, what's the one piece of advice you'd give them to get there quicker and have less pain?
Pain money or pain time? The choice is yours.
That's a great expression. I'm gonna steal that.
100%, man. It's like, if you're on the fit, like, just go for it. Like, I'll tell you now, I was even saying to Charlie, I was on the fence too, but it wasn't Charlie, it wasn't the mastermind, it wasn't Anthony on year, and it was just like me, like, get my head right, get into the right headspace, and I knew once I'm in the right headspace, I'll do it.
And that, I would say it's fair to say, it's changed your life.
Yeah, 100%, man. Yeah, look, I'm like, best thing ever, and I'm delighted now I'll be here for at least another year and potentially beyond. So let's freaking make it rock and roll, brother.
We set bigger goals. So for anyone else who's looking to take their business to the next level, have more success just like Adrian has, hit the link below this video. You can book in a free call to find out how we can help you. If you enjoyed the podcast, make sure you smash the subscribe button, comment below any questions, and we'll see you next episode very soon.